In your business, you do real estate, you do law, you do government, you do construction, genealogy. Which of those is the most important to make this kind of business work?
Depends on the deal. The reason I say that is some deals are heavy therapy. Some lady's crying on the phone. Some guy is like, my wife, this and that. And they're so stressed out. They don't see the light at the end of the tunnel, and you have to walk them through it. Otherwise, it's chaos. Just like any other human being, when you're faced with stress, you can't see past that. Private investigation, we just did a deal. We have a private investigator on our team. Send him out to Wisconsin to find a lady that would not answer her ex-husband phone calls, title company phone calls. All she had to do was sign the deed. That was already part of the divorce decree.
What did you end up making on it, roughly?
We're probably going to make like 25 grand.
Okay.
Yeah.
You said your proudest professional moment was making over 100 grand on your own. No safety net, no partners. What did that month teach you? Most investors chase the easy wins, as you know. Maybe it's like you out there right now. David and Amit don't. They're looking for the problems, like we always talk about, the nightmares, the legal tangles, the government red tape, family disputes that have been going on for decades, and they go solve them and make good money. They're part real estate expert, maybe part lawyer without a license, maybe part private investigator, part therapist, maybe. In 4 months, their company, Deed Hero, has generated nearly $850,000 in curative title equity and is on track to do $250,000 in about a month. All in one county, not across the country, one county. This is a story of grit, betting on yourself, friendship, partnership, and seeing opportunity where other people don't. Welcome, guys.
Thanks.
Appreciate having us.
Appreciate it.
Most people spend years chasing around their first six-figure month, but you guys have done triple that in a single month, focusing on one little bitty area. How'd you do it?
Corner of Texas, dude.
The corner of Texas, El Paso.
El Paso. I think it's comes down to grit, having those systems in place to be able to really understand your market,
But you guys just have one county. Many people say, how do I target all 7 or a whole state? You guys pick one county, bam, and just execute.
Well, for me at least, the way that I see it is if it's my El Paso's my hamster, like it's my little guinea pig that I'm experimenting on, right? I'm there, I'm local, I can go check out a property, I can go, I know someone that knows somebody in the city that I can figure out something going on, right? So I'm piecing these things together right now and trying to understand my data better, trying to understand sellers better. If I fuck something up, I know people locally can probably help me out to get out of the mess,
That's a benefit. You're so connected in your own market.
Yeah, I mean, it's.
Did you grow up there?
Grew up there, yeah.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, so we know a good amount of people with our partnership. He knows a different type of people, and it just comes together. So we're understanding our data and going deep into that, trying to figure out where to dig, and I don't need to go to the entire state of Texas to do 5, 6, 10 deals a month.
I like that answer. I don't need to go out there right now. So if you did decide to go to other counties right now, what would break first?
Probably the support, right? The legal support. If I can't find an area, I got to door knock the neighbor. I got to door knock the aunt. I got to door knock the sister. If I were to go to another county, I wouldn't be able to figure that out unless I had a friend there. So now I know people in San Antonio. Let me do there. I know people in DFW. Let me do there. But if I wanted to do Houston, I know 2 people in Houston. I couldn't.
Your
do Houston,
resources are what break
resources,
first.
Yeah.
You've said your proudest professional moment was making over 100 grand on your own. No safety net, no partners. What did that month teach you?
That month was crazy. It was crazy because it all added up to that month. Like my wife and I, that year, we kind of started all over again previous than that. But I had these crazy, at least still to today, one of those deals was the craziest deal I've ever done. Like I helped the lady bury her husband basically to get that deal closed. And I wasn't even doing curative title. That's curative in a sense, but it was more of an assignment deal. And that month I cleared 140 grand, I believe, in assignments. And it was 3 deals only. Man, they're hard deals.
There's money there, and that money is a metric for a man to say, I can do it, I know I can. But there's also, in my opinion, because I've been through these phases too, something happens in your heart, in your mind. This stuff says, I'm good enough. I told you I could do it.
Mm-hmm.
I think I can do it again. Like,
that's exactly what happens next, though. You're like, hey, I did this in 1 month. How can I do this every month?
Woo.
Every month. And this is kind of the journey that I've been in since then. And shortly after that's where I met Amit.
How'd you guys meet?
Well,
I've seen y'all together forever, but I've never actually asked that.
I think he has a better...
Well, so this was years ago. So I, at the time, was looking to transition into real estate. I was stumbling around. I was going, well, how can I find some high margin opportunities here? I was actually traveling around the country going to seminars, and I found this little pocket of seminars that was, it wasn't these slick guys that were on TV all the time. It was mostly old guys, been doing it for 40, 50 years. Like, you know, they didn't have much time left. They just loved to teach. They always charged the same price. It was always $600. And not only would they all do these seminars, but all the other speakers from other seminars would always show up, sit in the back. I didn't know it at the time. And so I'd show up at every seminar and go, hi, my name's Amit. I don't want to pay taxes. Can somebody help me? And it turns out, like 5 seminars in, I start talking to them, and they've all been laughing at me. None of them pay taxes. Nobody offered to help me, though. And so as I'm bouncing around, I run across Pace Morby, who at the time was not known by anyone. And you know, ironically enough, he may have had some words about people that were gurus out there, but I think he just didn't feel like they were providing a lot of value. So I reached out to Pace, and I was like, hey, in line with kind of what I've done my whole life, whenever I meet people that have a business I don't understand, I just say, hey, that seems really interesting. You know, I'd love to learn about your business. And it's surprising how many people are truly generous with their time if you just ask, you know, say, hey, you know, I'd love to learn. And people are really, really kind and helpful. And so I reached out to Pace, and I was like, hey, I'd love to learn your business. And he's like, well, when can you come to Phoenix? I was like, whenever you'll have me. So next weekend I flew out. He spent 3 days with me. You know, really kind, showed me his business, showed me his partner, showed me his systems. I watched, honestly, the man is a wizard. I watched him make 6 deals in 1 day. I watched him take one woman, sign her on a contract, get her out of her house, pay her no money, give her a piece of another house he had, get her on a payment for that, right? So he took her property as a down payment. And I was like, holy, like,
super creative.
This is unbelievable. I'd never seen anything like it, you know? So anyway, 3rd day goes by. I'm about to leave. And he goes on Facebook and he's like, hey, if anybody's in El Paso, check out Amit Bijlani. You guys should connect. And David reached out to me.
David shows up in my DMs.
Yeah, so he slides in.
Were y'all fast friends?
We met.
Yeah,
and, you know,
I would say so. We kind of good friends.
Well, he's being kind. So
he's like, yes. He's like, I don't know.
No. What really happened is he's being kind. So it was nice. We had a few meals, and I thought, hey, this is a solid guy. He works really hard. For me, when I'm looking at people, I just think character comes first, right? And so if you meet this guy, literally one of the best people I've ever known. He only wants basically three things in life. He wants to be a great father, a great husband, and actually a great business partner. And so I'm blessed to have him. But not so. It wasn't so easy. So I met him, and I was like, "Hey,
hard to get or what?"
Easy to go.
Yeah. Well, it's just the truth. So I was like, "Hey, you seem awesome. Like, you know, we should partner." And he was like, "I don't think so." A year later, I run into him. I'm like, "Hey, man, still think you're awesome." He's like, "Still don't want to partner with you." So I think it was about 4 years go by until finally.
It sounds like what you saw is this is a good dude, and when you can trust somebody and they're hardworking and they're good, you say, gosh, we could probably be better together. Is that kind of thing?
100%.
Yeah.
And at the time.
Well, hold on, I gotta ask this. When he kept saying, why don't you partner? Why were you saying, no?
So
Did you not want a business partner?
Well,
or did you not want him as a business partner?
No. Well, I don't know, right? It's like I had tried business partners before, it didn't work out, right? It's either someone's doing too much, some of the other person's not doing enough, or, you know, it's just it doesn't work out, right? And when he reached out to me the first couple of times, I don't think I was in a good spot mentally. This business, when you're starting off in this business, it's all about getting shit done. Getting shit done, you got to do it. If you don't do it, you don't eat. Like, so I had this, I brainwashed myself to saying nobody else can help me but myself. So I pushed back a lot. Like, no, what are you going to bring to the table, dude? Like, no, like, I got this, like, da.
This is almost trauma from your prior business relationship.
Yeah. That's exactly what it was, like trauma, right? So just, I didn't want a partner because I didn't know him that well at that point. was like, what are you going to bring to the table, dude? Like, I don't know. You know what I mean?
You know what? It's kind of good though, because you've had some bad experiences. And I think everyone should be very careful because business partnerships can be really bad or they can be great. It's rare they're just in the middle. And the second time around, you're like, whoa. Like, all right, who are you? What do you want? Like, is this really right? So maybe you vetted the second time around the way you should have vetted the early ones.
Yeah. No, definitely. I think, and honestly, I'm glad I did it. Now that we're in it, like he tells everybody, I don't do anything. This business, David does everything, right? And it's crazy to think that and say that because back then that would have pissed me off, right? But he pushes me so hard to level up my game, to level up my business acumen. He's like, you're doing something this certain way. However, you're not looking at this financially this correct way. You're not doing this thing. You gotta keep in mind
labor
this.
hours isn't equal. There are other skills that be worth more labor hours, but when that skill is added or brought to you, you become more effective. And sometimes it's an imbalance in the labor hours, but the productivity or the value can be equal.
Exactly. This is exactly how our partnership works, right?
Good.
It's he's the yin to my yang, basically, But that's how we met, yeah.
And I like to set, so I'm big on setting expectations.
This is how, all right.
It's the truth, right? Yeah. So I do this with everyone. I do this with friendships. I do this with all relationships, right?
Yeah.
I believe I always want to set expectations correctly. And I probably get a little too conservative. So, and this is not an exaggeration.
Not. I know what you're going to say.
Well, you were there. So I was like, hey, David, if we're going to be partners, I just want you to understand what my role is going to be. I'm not going to help. I'm not going to do anything. I'm never going to be around. Assume I don't exist. I'm a ghost. If you're okay with that, we can be partners.
And that was the reason I was like, hell yeah, dude. The reason why.
Get out of my
In
way.
the beginning, I'm like, wait, but that's what you didn't want because the old partner.
Right. But with the other partners, they were involved, right? But it was a lot of, in a bad way. Or, hey, let's do this shady thing over here. Or let's do something. I'm like, dude, no, we have to we got to cover our ass, this and that, right? So I got to this point where I'm like, I know how I operate. I don't want anybody else to tell me how to operate because I know that I'm doing, at least trying to do things the right way. So when he said that to me, he's like, I don't want to help. I don't want to do anything. I'm like, all right, dude, fuck yeah, I'll do it. And let's go. Like, you're not going to tell me what to do? Perfect.
Unfortunately for him. So he shook my hand. I said, good. Now that we have a deal, I'm going to do the best I can, do everything I can to help you. I just don't want you to expect it because, the reality is that it is meaningful to me to be the best partner I can be, but I have a lot of other things going on at the same time. And so if there's an expectation that I am needed to make something function, then I'm going to disappoint. And I don't want to set that basis. And so David really, I tell everybody, David does everything. He's the heart and soul of his business. And I actually joked. I was like, David, there's no point in me coming on the podcast because they're going to be like, so how does this work in your business? And I'd be like, I think he does that.
There's a lot of value in different partnerships, as you mentioned. And there's some people in our office that deal with only finance. Some people deal with only management. Some people deal with only acquisitions. Like we have all these different pieces and not every labor hour is equal. Some require more than others. It's an interesting balance, but without one piece, it wouldn't function the same. Without one piece, it wouldn't function the same. So I'm glad that you're here because it's good to see you again, but also sharing that balance matters because people have a hard time putting together business partnerships. And we have a unique one too in our office. And it's good for people to see what a one that functions right can look like. So I'm glad you did. In your business, you do real estate, you do law, you do government, you do construction, genealogy, private investigation, therapy. Which of those is the most important to make this kind of business work?
Depends on the deal.
Depends on the deal.
Depends on the deal. And the reason I say that is some deals are heavy therapy. Some lady's crying on the phone. Some guy is like, my wife, this and that, blah, blah, blah. And they're so stressed out. They're so distraught. It's just, they don't see the light at the end of the tunnel and you have to walk them through it. Otherwise, it's chaos. Otherwise, they lose a whole bunch, right? And just like any other human being, when you're faced with stress, you're faced with, these problems, you can't see past that,
Yeah.
So that's why I say therapy is a big part of it, right? Prior investigation, like we just did a deal. We have a private investigator on our team. We send them out to Wisconsin to find a lady that would not answer her phone calls. She would not answer her ex-husband phone calls, title company phone calls, nobody. All she had to do was sign the deed. That was already part of the divorce decree, right? The judge said, you have to sign this over to your ex-husband.
There was a divorce, and the way that divorce decree was written was that the party was to divest themselves, not the document did divest them of it. So you had to get that deed, years later?
Yep, exactly, right?
So how did you know where that person was? Were you sure, or was this a test?
So we tried the easy way first, right? Tried calling all this stuff. We skip traced her. We at that point we didn't even have TLO, right? We just use True People Search or something, and we found out where she was. I sent out a mobile notary with the document. No, actually it was a process server with the document. Process server finds her, delivers a document, but in Wisconsin he can't notarize the document. So all he did was, here you go, bye. Oh, we did our job, da da da. And I'm like, yeah, where's the document, dude? You know what I mean? So, boom, we know she's there. We know that's her, right?
But she still wouldn't answer the phone after she got the document.
She still wouldn't answer the phone, But now we knew it was her. She was there. So then we sent a private investigator.
A lot of people would say that trip cost you several $1,000s to send somebody out, travel, food, all that. And if they're not there, then what do? Well, you're willing to make that investment.
Right.
That's the last piece of this puzzle, probably.
Right.
Was it the last piece?
Last piece.
You had to make that investment and keep making that investment until you got the right location.
Correct. Yeah. It's not the greatest deal ever. And sometimes it isn't, right? But we had to do what we had to do to unlock the deal to get it closed.
You had already bought shares.
Not actually, it was in a Curative one. It was just a regular assignment. We locked it up under contract.
She was a single owner.
Yes, the ex-husband was, yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So you're fit. Okay, got it. Sorry.
So we got under contract with the ex-husband. He was the only owner.
You had to get that fixed to make his title 100%.
Right, exactly. And that's what we had to do that. So it wasn't the greatest deal, but we just had to do what we had to do to get the deal
at that
done.
point, you're pregnant. You got to have that baby. And sometimes you get whoppers and sometimes you have margin fade. Right. I like to not touch deals unless we make 50 or 100 grand on anything, but it never fails. I look at a pipeline report, and I look at, or not pipeline report, a prior quarter report, and I'm like, oh, look at that. We made $22,000. I'm like, why are we even near a deal that could possibly make that? But it's part of the business.
Yeah. So that deal, we didn't go, it was actually in New Mexico. We didn't go into the deal, thinking it was going to be a curative deal, right?
What did you end up making on it, roughly?
We actually closed on that deal in about a week. We're probably going to make like 25 grand.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's funny that in a place like where you are now, and you're like, all I made is 25 grand. Dude, that's a great number to a lot of people.
Yeah.
No,
he says that all the time.
Yeah, I make fun of him all the time because he's just like, you should see how depressed he looks. He's like, 25 grand. Like, I was like, when I met you, you were so excited about $20,000, And so it's a complete change. And it is funny because when I am in the office, somebody will come out and pitch a deal and it's like 40,000, 50,000 spread. I'm like, it's just not worth the brain damage, But as you said, it never fails. You go in, you get like a 20K, a 30K, and I mean, it's still real money, and it adds up, and it's nice to get across the finish line. It's just they're not worth a lot of effort in the space
how great your business is. If a bad deal is 25 grand, wow.
Yeah.
Well, and I really, and I think really we feel a lot of gratitude. I mean, so number one, I didn't even know this existed, if not for David. And he goes, yeah, I don't know. There's this Logan Fullmer guy, watches videos and everything else. And I'm like, okay, let's go. And your course has been massively helpful. Like your program, I've paid for a lot of education. I think in the last 12, 14 months, we've probably spent about $180,000 in education. And hands down, not to blow smoke, in fact, I hope nobody else takes the course. But
don't want more competition.
No, it really has been really helpful.
Tremendous value.
And the one thing I think that, and it's the last nice thing I'll say, so I promise, but I think the one thing that's great about you and your brand is that I always, I took a couple things. I'm like, Logan always tries to push real value through it, right? And so you actually put a lot of effort to make sure that whatever people are spending the money, that you actually care and that they actually get something out of it. And so just thank you for that.
I appreciate it. It matters, and I guess it is working.
For now.
If you guys like what you're seeing on these episodes, go over to my website, www.loganfullmer.com. We've got bonus content. We've got a bunch of other podcast episodes. We've got some online courses, and I've recently written a book. You'll find that there as well. It's free if you pay a little bit of shipping and handling. So thanks for doing that. Let's get back to it. All right. So I kind of know what's going on with some of these deals and how you guys met, but let's go backwards for a little bit. We're going to talk a lot of technical, a lot of details, but I want to know how you guys made it into real estate. What was your life before real estate like? Like, who are we dealing with here?
I started off in real estate in 2017.
At what age is that?
Oh man, I was like 26. No, like 27, 28.
Okay, so late
20s.
Did you go to college, trade school, nothing? What'd you do before then?
So before that, actually, I had my first business right out of high school.
Whoa.
It was a family business, right? Me and when the economy crashed back in 08, 09, my dad got laid off. And we were just, let's do what we know how to do. My dad's a welder, right? So he taught me how to weld my whole life. So we started making these iron doors, and that's the first business that I started. My dad, he's blue collar, didn't know much about business. I didn't know much. Back then, I didn't know what a P&L was, right? But we started this business. It went well. It was a family business. We were doing it. And then in 2016, I had my son. And a year later after that, we moved to Dallas to expand that business. While I was in Dallas, I found all these gurus, right? These guys doing real estate. And actually, the way I found them was I was trying to find a house for myself and my family, owner finance, guys. I don't want a mortgage, right? So I was on, I guess Facebook Marketplace back then, Craigslist or whatever, trying to find someone willing to sell me a house owner financed.
Yeah.
That was, owner. And that's how I found people wholesaling deals. I was like, what is this, right? I thought it was legal. Like, it's just like, it sounds like a scam. Started doing more research, started following people. I went to my first ever, seminar or whatever. It was out in DFW. Ryan Jackson put out these Texas Tuesdays, and the guest that week was Corey Thompson, right?
Of all people.
Yeah.
Oh,
first exposure to real estate, right? But it
the
was
motherfucker of mobile homes.
Yeah. So there, I that's where it really hit me, is like, these deals are really out there. Met all these different people in there, like, yeah, I've wholesaled a deal, I've done this and done that. I'm like, this is really possible. So that's when I started going deeper into. I got obsessed with real estate.
So you're trying to buy a house for yourself, and you wind up like in this new world of investment.
Yes,
stuff.
I didn't know anything back then, man. I had no idea. I didn't know how any of this worked, and I just jumped in. Right, I had this business, but anything other than what I was doing for that business was spent. Any other time was spent just listening to podcasts, reading threads on Facebook, liking Corey Thompson's posts and shit, And from, I don't know, it's just like maybe a couple of months after that, a buddy of mine links me up with another investor out in DFW named Corey Moody. And he's doing these investments. He's a flipper. He's, trying to wholesale. Met up with the guy, and I worked with him for 2 years. Learned a whole bunch, figured out how to do these deals and wholesaling and all that stuff. And then COVID hit. And at that time, I already had 2 kids, no family in DFW, just me, my wife, and my 2 kids. COVID hit, all the deals just kind of just sit there.
Everybody
right?
gets scared.
Yeah, that's my
finance froze up for a little bit.
Yeah, dude, that's how I was making money to to sustain my family. And COVID hit, I had no other option but to come back to El Paso. Which at that time, it was just the worst thing that could have happened to me. I felt terrible about it. Just stressed the fuck out.
You probably felt like a failure. Like, this isn't working. I didn't make it. I got to go back.
I listened to David Goggins the entire drive.
Oh, God.
Calling me a bitch the whole way from Dallas to El Paso, dude. This is right. You know what I mean? So I just psyched myself out. I got to El Paso. I'm like, I have to figure this out. Like, I didn't want to go back to the wrought iron business that I had quit on my family. Because I knew this was my path. I knew that I had to do this. I enjoyed the hell out of it. It's amazing, like, the stuff that you can do in real estate, the people that you help. And I started off in El Paso again on my own. And then bad partner, super, super stressed. And then during COVID, this is all still during COVID, my wife, she's a nurse, and she's like, hey, they're paying 10 grand a month in California if we, take this travel nursing gig. I'm like, babe, I can't do that. I have to get this business going. She's like, no, come on. Like, it's good money. And you could just hang out with the kids all day and go to the beach and stuff. I'm like, all right, let's do it. So I did it. Right.
It's like you're trying to start a business and she's like, let me be the breadwinner for a little while.
Oh, yeah.
Big change of pace. For real.
Ow, right? It was just, it was painful for sure. But I'm glad I did it, dude. That year, made the most money I ever did from the beach. I made 150 grand that year just on 10K assignments, 5K assignments, 20K assignments.
You're getting in reps, getting the feel.
Yeah, just doing follow-ups.
So combined right there, you got 100 from her, 150 from you. You guys made $250,000 that year.
Right.
And not long ago, you're moving back from Dallas because you dried up.
Yeah. Yeah, it's exactly
Dude, $250,000 a year from a couple years ago, everything drying up is a remarkable change.
You put it that way, yeah. It was. It really, really was. So then when we came back, we went to three different assignments. That whole year we traveled. We went to California, Florida, and New York.
This on the road.
Yeah.
And where were the deals? El Paso?
El Paso. Everything in El Paso the whole time.
That's cool.
And parts of New Mexico, just south of New Mexico. And when we came back from traveling that year, me and my wife started it again. Like, all right, let's focus on this. Me and my wife, we got a little office, $400 a month office. And, I was getting the data, making the lists, using the call reel at that time. And she was helping me with the cold calls. That lasted about 2-3 months before she's like, I can't work with you, But
she hated the cold calls or hated working with daddy?
Yeah.
It could be tough.
Yeah. It could be tough. I mean, working with anybody that you love is hard. And I know that from experience because I work with my dad and my brother. And I always tell this to the people is like, when I got so frustrated, like things were going my way in the business, I couldn't just turn around and fire my brother, fire my dad. Like, it's my dad. What is he going to tell me? You're fired.
It's like a marriage. I'm mad at my wife, but I can't kick her out.
Exactly.
Like, we got to get the kids up for school in the morning.
Right.
What are you talking about?
So yeah, that's like 3 months, and then she left, and I continued on going, and that year, that December, that's when I made 140 grand 1 month. After that whole year, to start all over from again.
Dude, okay, now let's do this in 2 or 3 different dots to connect. You dried up in Dallas, disappointed. David Goggins making you feel like a bitch. You come back. The next year, y'all make $250,000 together. The next year, you make over 100 grand in 1 month. Mm-hmm. Like, there are people that go their entire career, their entire life, and don't ever get the opportunity to do that. And y'all have done it in a window of what? Is it 3 years, maybe?
Yeah, 4 years, yeah.
Dude, that's like huge. That does the things where it changes here and here.
Oh, yeah.
How do you feel about yourself at that time relative to how you felt when David Goggins is like hammering in your ear?
Well, at that time, I'm in the trenches, right? And it just doesn't feel like anything is enough. Nothing's ever enough, right? Yeah. Now that I look back at it, I'm like, man, that's pretty cool. Like,
let's slow down for a minute and talk about it. Like, whoa, that's
right?
huge.
It's looking back at it now that I made 140 grand in 1 month. It is life changing, and not financially. It does, right? It makes a huge impact on you.
Soul changing.
Exactly.
You're a different person now.
That's it. That's what it made me realize is like, now I got to do this every month. How do I figure out how to do this every month? And from there, I spent all that money on all the wrong things, right? I just hired the wrong people. The systems weren't in place correctly. I bought deals I shouldn't have bought, this and that. And as I'm approaching the end of that 140 grand, after all these other like assignments are coming in and kind of keeping me afloat, that's where I met Amit, and from there, it's still hard to this day, but that's where things started changing because he started pushing me now. He started doing, hey, look, this is why this isn't working. This is why this works. This is why that doesn't work. He just started pushing me like, you're doing this.
It's almost advisory level stuff. Like, dude, you're really good and really smart and really hardworking, but check this out. There's a different idea. Look at it this way instead of that way. Mm-hmm. And unlocking that little thing is what can let you go the right direction quick.
Right.
So it might only take an hour of a conversation, But if it changes at all, that's the most important hour of your month.
Right. Exactly.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, dude. We all have different jobs like that around here. I recognize it.
Yeah. No, yeah, it's he's been a huge impact on the business. Huge impact, even though he's not at the office all the time. He's not, not hands-on on it, but his business acumen, right? He's made me level up. He's made me realize, you want to make money, you got to spend money.
That can happen,
coming from a broke mindset, blue collar my whole life, you get money, you just don't want to spend, you want to keep it. So I would spend it the wrong way, and then he came in, he's like, no, we got to spend it this way. We got to spend it that way. Put more money in here. Don't do that. And things started changing. That's when things started changing. Spending on education. Like, we spent a whole bunch on education.
Mr. Blue Collar here is about to make $300K this month. And he's not even that excited about it.
Well, there's something he said to that, and you're right. Yeah. Somebody said, when you made $1 million the first time in the year, like, how did you feel? And I'm like, dude, I didn't even know it. I went and computed it when I was looking at my quarterly financials 3 months later. I realized it, and it was just like, didn't even matter, because you're just like in it and going. And then maybe a year later, at Christmas time, you get 2 weeks off, and you're calmed down, and you're thinking, and it occurs to you, holy shit, I made $1 million last year? Like, because you're just going. There will never be a hurdle that is the one. There's always another when you're learning, huh?
There's always another hurdle.
And you've had these experiences, and you recognize them. I'm glad you're trying to slow them down a bit and say, hold on, like, let's celebrate this a little, but...
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it. I think I learned that the hard way. So when I was younger, I had, I played poker, and I had a mental game coach. 90% of his clients were PGA golfers, and at the time, 10% were high-level poker players. And his name was Jamie Glazer, still does it. And so what he taught me was, he was like, I didn't apply it, to be fair, for a very long time. But he did teach it to me. And he said, if there was a chart of happiness that showcased how PGA golfers and poker players operate, it's like this. They have this expectation level that they're always going to sink that putt. They're always going to make the right decision. And so when they sink the putt, happiness moves 0. They have no happiness. But every time they miss the putt, they feel misery. So the chart of happiness for a high-level player is always downtrending. And he said it's almost this strange universal where they never take a moment to actually step back and celebrate the small things. And I recognized it then. I didn't change. I didn't change probably decades later. But I'm trying. But I think that's that. It's trying to get there and try to appreciate the little things, right? And so it's like, it's not even just monetary, right? Because you're trying to build a business. And I don't remember where I heard this, but I heard this somewhere recently. It's like everyone cheers for you at the beginning and everyone cheers for you at the end. And you don't need it in either place, right? You need it in the middle, because the work happens there. It's the unseen work. It's those free throws every morning that Kobe's shooting it. Nobody celebrates, And so you need to find a way to celebrate them for yourselves, And so with David, he sits there in the mud every single day, and he grinds out another SOP. He tries to figure out the system. He tries to find another hole in the business. Tries to figure out what something's leaking, how to systemize something a little bit better. And nobody's there cheering you on for that, But that is the magic. The aggregate of all that work is the magic, And so I think that, what's amazing as I look at this guy who literally wants nothing in the world but just be a good husband, a good father. And I say good business partner. I think he's really doing it for himself, but I like to pretend it's for me. Is this guy who had humble ambitions and started off doing wrought iron work, is now bringing in $300,000 this month, is not remotely happy about it. And his actual vision for the business is to go more than 10x that monthly, 20x, 30x. Like, he has this big vision for it. And so, and he's really working hard and to build the infrastructure for it. So whereas, I think before, I remember growing up, I met this guy who was getting like $8,000 a month, and I grew up pretty poor. And it was like a fantasy. I was like, God, if I had $8,000 a month, I'd have my own place, I'd have a car, I'd invest so much money, right? It was a dream, right?
Yeah.
And it's just to see the transition. And now he's thinking, how can I build the systems? How can I do that? And so I couldn't imagine making $100,000 a year. I don't think David could either. And now the current expense rate on this business is a little over $80,000 a month. We're about to go up to 110. And it seems crazy. It probably feels crazy.
Yeah.
But it's about what are you trying to build, right? And so it's like if you're trying to build a pipeline that's going to handle enough volume, right? It's got to be big enough. And so it's always painful. It's always painful in the beginning because you're trying to create the infrastructure for something larger, and you don't have that throughput. And every time you try to put that throughput through, you're like, oh shit, my systems suck. Like it's not working. Everything's breaking. And you know what? In curative title, it's complex. It's complex, and
Thinking man's game.
it is. And, and we have the good fortune to be able to afford a full-time PI. We have the good fortune to have, I've been in real estate since before we partnered up, and so I've got a lot of attorney relationships. I've got a lot of other relationships. So we have the good fortune to have access to, if I can't call a Logan, if I can't call a Ryan McDonald, right? Like I can call a bunch of attorneys and they'll pick up the phone at midnight because I think you say this, right? It's like, pay your attorneys, pay them quickly, treat service providers like gold because they really are. And so we have that good fortune, but it's just, you're trying to build something that will get bigger, and it's scary. And it's also not something that we've seen someone else do, right?
Yeah.
And so there's no one, thank God we have access to guys like you,
It's an unpaved road.
but it's an unpaved road, and so it's like, it's terrifying and it's exciting. And I think that really is the joy and the greatness of entrepreneurship. It's actually in the pain, right? It's in the pain
really is.
because pushing through the pain is what builds personal character, right? It's what builds you because then I've done this thing. I can do it again. I can do it again.
That's where it starts to have those changes here and here is more than the money. It's
It's more than the money.
the tempering of the matter.
so-
It's not about the money.
And so forget the $300,000 a month. I think that one of the greatest things I've seen in this business that's gotten me really excited is actually David. Like David is a completely different animal today than who he used to be. Like he is pushing and growing, and
Making what?
Making me blush on camera.
no, and it's impressive, to watch. And so
It's good to have a business partner that appreciates you, that you appreciate. Like those are huge, and that both get along well. That's 80% of business partnerships fail in the first 5 years, actually. Like this is big that it works like that. It's huge.
it's surprising how hard it is to find a business partner that appreciates a guy who doesn't do very much.
Magic, buddy.
Yeah.
So we know what the pathway to the real estate, but now what's that journey look like? Because I doubt you were just doing straight distressed curative deals. You're doing some wholesale deals and stuff like that. But something changed. You said, I want to just do the messed up ones. What happens there?
So I realized that the more profitable deals were the messed up ones. And I didn't
Of
know.
the ones you'd already done, you said, whoa, these are better than those kind of?
Yeah. I mean, I was like that month that I made 140 grand, right? Like
There's only 3 deals. But
there's only 3 deals, right? 3 deals. And the one that was the hardest to this day is probably the mentally hardest one. I had to help this lady help this lady set up funeral services for her husband who had just died. I had to find her the life insurance in a pile of boxes in the back room. I had to take her to sign off on the body to the hospital. I had to take her to help her pick out the casket. I went to the funeral, right? I had to do all these things.
That's a lot of time. That is hard to do. As
Hard
a human.
to do, right? And
Emotionally hard.
emotionally, right? It's this whole time. It's like, if I don't do it, I don't see anybody else lined up to do it. And this lady, it's sad. Her husband had her so spoiled. She didn't know what bank they had. She didn't know what mortgage company. She didn't know anything. So I had to piece all these things for her together. And her husband had just died 2 weeks ago, right? And it's crazy because I didn't even know. Like she was on our elderly list or something. Like I had no idea he had passed away, right? But that was hard, but super rewarding at the end. At the end, when she finally got her check, when I helped her solve all these problems, the money was cool, right? But that fulfillment, you're like, dang, I just did something crazy here. Like, this lady, I don't know what would have happened to her if I didn't help her out.
They would have all not gotten done right
Right.
or gotten done at all.
Yeah. So it's just those type of deals that have attracted me. Like, hey, those deals, yes, they're involved. Yes, they're hard. They make good money. But at the end, you're like, I did that shit. I fixed that problem.
I did. That's where it goes back to the here and the here.
Mm-hmm.
So you start to have those. You have the big wins. You feel good about what you've done. You solved a complex problem. You've helped a person. These are all good. And then is there a time where you say, I think I'm just going to do this?
So I don't approach it that way. I take every I guess, lead. And the way I teach my guys is you have to learn different acquisition methods, right? You have to know about wholesaling. You have to know about sub 2. You have to know about curative title stuff. Because every deal works different. Every solve is different. And I'll give you an example. There was a property maybe a couple weeks ago, 14 heirs, right? So off the bat, I look at it, I'm like, oh, that's curative, right? Mm-hmm. Get on the phone with a lady. She swears that she can get everybody on board. I'm like, cool. If you can get everybody on board, this is what we're going to do. But if not, this is what we got to do. If I didn't know about, regular assignment of contracts and stuff like that, I would have tried to go for the curative title stuff, right? But everybody was on board. So I'm like, cool, get everybody to sign this contract then. Let's get everybody to sign this one contract. Sure enough, everybody signed.
All 14 owners.
All 14 owners signed.
Yeah, one signature page at the end of the contract, like bam, 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 bam.
And
or
one of them lived in the house.
Oh.
Right?
Did they sign?
Yep. See what I'm saying? So you got to approach it differently, in my opinion, because not every deal has the same solve.
So you'll do a wholesale deal, you'll do a house flip, and you'll do these.
Right.
But these are probably
Flipping not as much, but yeah.
Those are tough.
Those are terrible. Yeah, just flipping.
So when you're marketing, what's your marketing look like?
All we do is cold call. That's all we do. We don't do any PPC. We don't do any, mailers, texting. I've tried some of those in the past, and nothing is as effective as a cold call, right?
Yeah, love that.
But, that's just kind of figured out trial and error. Cold calling is the best way to do it. That's the way we market to it.
Who do you call?
It's about the data.
What list?
What I pride myself in is my data management, right? It's understanding the records that I have. And I learned this from, I'm sure you've heard of it, REI Sift. Mm-hmm. There's this whole community about it now, right?
Yeah.
But it's understanding the data that you actually have. Most wholesalers, what do? They pull a list, 50,000 records. They cold call it, get a couple VAs, cold call it, or they send messages or whatever, and they go get another list. And then they go get another list, right? Yeah. But it's in that list that...
You got 50,000 leads, dude. There are deals all over that. Why do you need another list?
Exactly, right? And understanding how to, all right, well, if I skip trace these people, and it says here I've called them 5 different times, and I still haven't gotten the right number, there's something there, right? What that leads me to believe most of the time is that either that owner is dead or I have the wrong owner.
Could be true.
Also,
that means other people that are having that same problem, they're not getting a hold of them either.
Exactly, right? So most of those calls go, you get them on the phone and, oh yeah, how are you doing? How's it going? What's going on, right? It's never like, oh my God, you guys again. It's never that, right?
Yeah.
It's never that because it's everybody skip tracing them. Everybody's calling the same phone numbers. Nobody's looking into their data to realize, hey, we've called this person 4 or 5 times. Mm-hmm. We don't have the right number.
You're approaching the data in a much more detailed way than big data processing, dumping, move. Like
right.
That.
Yeah, but it's just tagging it, you know what I mean? Understanding what you have. How many times have you called it? When did you call it? When did you market to this?
So you're paying attention.
Paying attention to it, yeah. That's exactly what it is.
What does your pitch sound like when you're outbound?
I don't like the salesy approach. I like to approach it as, I tell my guys, we're trying to solve problems here, guys, right? So I try to, and everybody has a twist to it, right?
Yeah.
But what I try to do is, hey, Lupe, I'm I know you don't know who I am, but the reason I'm calling you is because I figured out that your mom, Mary, I'm sorry, my condolences, but it looks like she passed away. And now you and your brother, John, and your other brother, Daniel, own this property. Just trying to figure out what you guys are doing with this property. It's never
Trying to figure out what y'all are doing with it. Instead of that straight hard pitch. I'm a cash buyer, ready to make an offer. It's good till 5 today.
Yep. Oh yeah. No, we don't do that at all. We try to engage them, because if they're getting called by other people, they're getting hit hard, right?
Yeah.
So when you take it a different angle and you try to, lure them in with facts, then you pique their interest. Then they're like, wait, how do you know about my brother? How do you know about my dad? How do you know about my dog?
That gets attention quick.
That gets their attention quick. So they stay on the phone, right? And then you just have a conversation. What are y'all doing with this? Nothing? What's going on? Why not? Who's doing this? Who's doing that? Like, I tell my guys, like, always, who, what, when, where, why, how.
Oh, always. I like that. Who, what, where, when, why, how.
Always try to find out. Like, that's how you get over objections, in my opinion, right? They tell you something. Why did that happen? How does that happen? Who told you that? What makes you think that? It's those open-ended questions that helps them get through it and basically tell you the whole story. And then now it's time to piece it together and problem solve,
So tell me what a team looks like for you today. Like, who's doing what?
We have an office admin, I guess executive assistant. I would call Myra, like, she's the whip, She's the one that has everybody in order. Then she has another assistant, right? So they do a bunch of the clerical stuff, making sure, our accounting is all right and stuff. And then in the sales floor, I have.
Do those people work here or are they remote?
No, they work local. They're in the office.
Okay.
And then we have 3 acquisitions guys. I have 1 dispo girl and 1 researcher. And now we recently got an in-house private investigator.
Oh, that's a game changer.
So far, yeah.
Okay, so you have a couple people in acquisitions, somebody on disposition, you got investigative, and you got a couple administrative.
They got a researcher, yeah.
And a research. So you're looking at more or less 10,
right.
Roughly. That's about.
And some VAs and some on-site VAs. Workers for the houses.
Yeah, the guys that trash out. Yeah.
Are the construction guys direct employees, or do you pay them per project, per job?
Correct.
Okay, wow. So you got a fair amount of construction still happening. Old habits die hard, huh?
You've seen those houses. You know what they look like.
So
they get trashed out.
So yeah, mostly it's trash outs now. Sometimes you gotta touch the hot stove. So we got a couple of lingering flips from back in the day. So they're slowly getting those out of the pipeline. It's house flipping is a lot of fun if you like to tie up a lot of collateral for minimal margins. So I mean, it's we're gonna get those through, and then the guys do stay busy with a lot of lipstick work, right? So we try to do the light work and then get them out. I think we all kind of say flip paper, not houses. So
yeah, that's true. That sounds like a good size operation. So how long have you guys been operating in this current rendition of the business?
4 months.
Something like that.
Okay, so it's relatively new, it's productive, but then you're in a spot where like you're really roping stuff in, and you expect it to take 3, 4, 5 months to really get there. And then hopefully around that time, that's the time that I see when new teams and new systems and stuff really start to play. And plus you have a little bit of a cycle time for deals. So probably 6 months, and you say, okay, this thing is producing now. Or do you feel like you're coming towards that place?
Yeah, man, this month, this is the month we're going to make close to $300,000.
Okay.
First time we hit something like that in a month. And this is all work from previous months. So it's like, oh shit, we're there. Right?
Actually,
we're not. Yeah.
The question is, can you run months now from 100 to 300? Can they go like that?
Oh yeah.
We have never been able to stabilize the revenue because they're so big. It's not like a business that sells $47 headphones. You're selling 100 a month, whatever. Man, you got big revenue numbers, small revenues. It's going to be choppy.
It is.
But if you have this like threshold, not less than 100 a month, not more than 300 a month, but you're in there, whoo, you're in like the zone.
Yeah. And I think what's exciting is, like with any business, right? It's not about what you make in a transaction, it's what you keep and it's what you average.
Yeah.
And so for us, I think that I do try to celebrate the small things, but I think it's challenging for us to feel really good about the 300K because the goal that we're shooting for is a lot higher. And so, and I think that's why we're stacking things the way that we are. And so, we're currently moving to much larger offices. I know you're gonna think we're insane, but the plan is to increase acquisitions headcount by 15 to 20 people.
Woo, that's a lot.
Yeah, it's going to be. We'll see.
We'll see.
But that's the goal, right? It's to have a real business and not one that not a very high-paying job that you're stuck inside of. And so it's how do you create that, and how do you create the systems to effectively allow that to happen? And it can be challenging because this is not a simple business, right? There's a lot of complexity to it. There's a lot of variability to it. There's a lot of customization. There's a very human element to it. And so, getting all those things right can be a challenge, but I think what I tell David is, sure, this is kind of complicated, right? But we're not manufacturing self-driving cars or making like NVIDIA chips. So
I'll have to be as smart as Elon Musk. Okay?
yeah. So like what I'm saying is people scale much more complex things. And so, everything has a solve, and the fun is in the misery, right? It's one miserable solve at a time, So
you guys have figured out how to do the deals. You got that. Like, there's probably not a ton that comes at you that you don't feel like you got an idea what to do with it. And if it's too much more complicated and it doesn't fit in your model, you can easily say no so that you become very proficient. A lot of businesses like this, I notice, get to a point where they have a lot of good people training, 5 to 15 people, and it runs. But where a big bottleneck that I've found, and we've had to work through this a lot, is what I would call mid-level or upper-level management, like exec management, which could be you, and advisory, board role might be like you. The problem is you are going to have a really hard time with you. And I've struggled with that. And a big vacancy we had in our operation we've identified is not having like executive type management. It's all been the owners, operators. So that's a step that you'll have to really work through. And to me, it's the hardest, is figuring out, I'm now going to have someone with a salary of $200,000, $300,000, because you ain't going to pay somebody $90,000 to do a lot of what you do. I mean, you're going to think about your closest friends that you grew up with, or people throughout your life that are ballers, that are working at some job somewhere, but they're like high paid, like they're bad motherfuckers. Dude, they're making $200,000, $300,000. That's the kind of guy you need here. They're not entrepreneurial and going to do their own thing, but that's what you need. And they're not cheap. And when you get to the point where you're making, all right, we make a couple $100,000 or a couple $1,000,000 a year now. Oh, we make $2 million. We're gonna have to lower it to 1.75 to pay this dude $250,000. Like, dude, that's hard, man. It's way harder than you think.
Yeah.
So that's like a
100%,
place.
right? And that's why
might be on a year from now.
Yeah.
And you're 100% right? And so that is a real challenge. And so, and it's true with every business, and it's just true in real estate in general. It's like if you have a 30-room hotel, you don't have a business. You have a job, a really miserable job.
Yeah.
You need scale to be able to afford like management, and this is no different. So, and that's why we're trying to build the pipe wide enough, because you're not going to be able to get one of those badass motherfuckers for $50,000, right? So if you want your business to operate well, 300 is great. 500 is better. Like if you can afford it, like it will pay you dividends. And so you need to be able to have that throughput. And so that's really what David is trying to build, And
it sounds like you're headed that direction.
Trying to figure it out. It's very complex business. Very complex business.
Man, it is, but we've broken through every barrier. We thought the same thing. You can never coach this. Way too complicated. There's so many facets. We figured out how to coach the right amount of it in the right amount of time, at the right detail level, with the right people, and make it work pretty good.
Yeah.
Now, how do you put management in place? I think it is possible, but you've got to figure out like the ultra crazy, mega complicated ones. You just have to say, no, those don't go on the plate. Or maybe as the owner that I only have a function in the company. It's the finance part and it's the advisory part for the super crazy deals, or you decide not to do them. When your company gets big enough, it can be stable enough. You might have to X them out because they're so hard and complicated that it requires a bunch of you. And if you're able to make X amount of $1 million a year and you don't need those, they go away. Possibly. I'm not saying they should, but it's a thing to consider.
No, and it's happening today.
Systemize it.
David threw a deal in the trash yesterday. It's just not worth it.
That's a really astute thing to be able to do. A lot of people, it's going to make us 40 grand. Let's take it. Whoa. That's a bad 40 grand sometimes.
It'll take a lot of time.
When I was in my mid-20s, I was in a software business in New York. And I remember one of my happiest days was, will probably sound wrong, but one of my happiest days when I got to call all of my most annoying, most frustrating, typically my smallest clients. For some reason, the smallest guys always wanted the most. They were the most frustrating. I finally got my business to a place where I could call them and fire them. It just felt so good, right? And you just learn, not every dollar is equal.
Yeah.
It's not all worth chasing.
Yeah, you're exactly right. So tell me about you told me about the deal where you had to help this gal go through those tough life events. Whew. Outside of that, what would you say would be your biggest single deal?
Biggest single deal?
It might be quantity of owners. It might be nastiest $1 million lien, or it might be the biggest profit. I don't know. Which one?
And it wasn't that complicated. It was going to net us the most profit. But that deal, it was kind of tricky. So it's actually in a small town outside of El Paso. It's still in El Paso County. Corner lot, commercial.
Wait, San Antonio Street?
San Antonio Street, yeah.
Okay, I'm like, it's in our town.
No, El Paso.
You're working here now.
It's in a town called San Elizario. It's street of San Antonio. But it's basically 1.4 acres. It has a warehouse. It has 2 houses on it, right? Discovered it had delinquent taxes. I look up the owners. They're all in Oklahoma. So I remember this actually really well. I called the numbers. I got in contact with one of the owners' wives. And I was looking for Sam, right? So like, hey, I'm trying to reach Sam. Oh, he's at work and out right now. I'm like, hey, look, it's, I don't know if you guys know about this, but there's a property right here in El Paso in San Elizario, and looks like pretty soon you guys are going to be facing foreclosure if you have him call me. So that happened. I get to my mom's house and I get this phone call. And this is my first, pretty much my first kind of, when I'm trying to focus on curative title stuff. This is my first deal. And the guy calls me up and, you know what? Let me call my sister. Let me call everybody. So we party line with 3 people. And well, what's your offer? Well, what's your offer? And at that point, I hadn't done my research. I'm like, well, I knew that property was worth about $450. Like, well, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. Like, if I give you guys $150, you guys willing to go with it? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, yes, right.
It's like that dog that's chasing the bus.
Yeah.
You finally caught it. What do I do now?
Yeah, right.
It's currently listed for $575.
Yeah, it's currently listed for $575.
That's a lick.
But the issue there was not them. The issue there was the people that were living in the house.
Oh.
2 houses.
2 houses.
There were squatters.
It was a family compound. Family compound. So turns out back in
somebody else's family.
No, their
Not the
family.
owners.
Well, is their family. So back in the
Sort
60s, okay. I forgot her name. I guess we'll call her Lupe, right? Lupe bought this property in the 60s. Woman bought this property all on her own. Pride, right? This woman was like, yeah, this is my property, right? So she buys it for her family. They build 2 houses. Her brothers live in those houses with their wives, and she moves to Oklahoma. She has her kids, all that stuff. They grew up in Oklahoma. Her house, this property is hers under her name. Her brothers and their families grew up in that property, but they don't have title to it.
She dies, her kids are owners, and the nieces and nephews are not, and they live there.
And they live there and they haven't paid taxes. And the house and it's a whole issue, right?
Oh, gosh.
And then husbands die. So now their wives, so now auntie, right, lives in the house.
So they're even slightly more disconnected from family because they're not blood.
They're not blood. So
Ooh, this is touchy.
yeah. So we actually get in contact with the owners. Cool, let's figure something out. They tell me, look, my aunt filed these documents. I don't know what they are, and she's a very, very evil person. Blah blah blah. She's not easy to handle. Good luck. I'm like, all right, cool.
The aunts that live there.
Yeah. So one of the aunts that lives there. So me and Amit actually go door knocker. We show with flowers.
This might be the only appointment I've been to, and I haven't been invited back.
This is the one you chose to go to.
So we door knocker. She's there. We got flowers for her. You know, and it's kind of.
Why'd you tell her you brought flowers?
It's hard to approach somebody with these situations, especially in that one where she's not the owner, and basically the message you got to relay is, hey, you got to get out.
Were you in contract yet?
Yes. Yeah, we're in contract already, right?
So you have equitable interest at this point.
We might have even deeded it over at that point. I don't remember. Yeah.
No, we already had ownership. So this is how I structured this deal.
You were the owner.
So this is how we structured this deal, right?
Hold on. Sorry to interrupt. Let me back up.
Yeah.
Why didn't you address that before you purchased it? Why did you wait till after?
Because of what they were willing to take for it.
It was a deal.
It was a deal, right? So the way we structured it is $500 each. I get interest on the property
For each owner.
for each owner. Okay, so there's 4 people, so $2,000. When we sell it, you guys get 30%
Of the net. After
of
all
the net
expenses.
process,
That's
right?
nice. Yeah, that's actually really
So
good.
we're out of pocket $2,000. Okay. So what's standing between us and getting this deal done is this lady that has no ownership, and this other lady that has no ownership in the other
Dude,
house.
now you can spend now this is almost like a contingency deal in a way. You have such little money in it. You actually have money and time and resources available. If you gotta like file a lawsuit or really get going, your obligation to them is on the back end,
Yep.
basically with the buyer's money at the closing. So like, dude, you're low cost in it. You're ready to go. And if you got to bring some cash to do some stuff, like you're ready.
We're ready.
So,
I like this move.
so we knock on the door.
You bring the flowers, you bring the big smile, and you're like, hey,
knock the
guys.
door. She lets us in. And so El Paso is a very like Hispanic area. It's like 85% Hispanic. And a lot of people, you know, some people speak English, some people don't.
Does anybody ever think you're Hispanic?
Not really. Once in a blue moon. So we knock on the door, and you know, older woman, you know, opens the door. She's lived there 50, 60 years. You know, she's been there for a long time, and you know, so I'm prepared to honestly just stand there because I don't speak Spanish. And lo and behold, like David says hello, and she speaks perfect English, and you know,
You're in the game.
yeah, horrible, right? I'm like, this is my shot, right? So I jump in, apologize. I totally just take over the conversation. And I just start talking to her, and I'm like trying to learn about her and everything else. And you know, I'm also in my head, I'm learning about her situation. She's got knee issues, she needs surgery, her legs are like, you know, she's elderly, she has a small amount of fixed income coming in every month. She has a son who's a out of work truck driver. You know, and so I'm just thinking about this problem because, you know, getting her out of the house effectuates the deal, but there's a human element too, you know, and you don't want to just take a poor old woman and just leave her destitute. You know, I mean, at least it's not the way I would like to do business. Not the way I'd like to live.
Right.
And so, you know, we end up talking to her, and we go through her life situation, what she's doing, what's going to happen. We let her know, like, you know, this foreclosure was coming. We stopped it. You know, otherwise you would probably be out very quickly.
What did she say when you told her about that part? Was she one of those people that's like oblivious or like it ain't gonna happen, or what was?
No, she knew it was coming. She had some other family members that were trying to help, but they just recognized that the issue was not going to work, and they just kind of put their head down and said, "It's going to come when it's going to come," you know. And so, you know, when we showed up, the welcome was actually pretty warm. And so, you know, I just talked her through it, and I said, you know, let's talk. Here's your life situation. Thank you for mapping it out for us. Will you please tell me how much money you think you would need to be able to comfortably move out? And she thought about it.
I'm surprised she wasn't freaking out on you. Like
They knew it was coming. They knew it was coming.
Yeah, and with
Because the other family were like, she's a monster.
Yeah.
and you know, Zuniga's an El Paso 10, so it really helps. You know, you got the flowers, you got the smile.
Yeah.
So she thinks about it. She brought her son in, you know, and he's sitting there, and she said, "You know what? I think $7,000 is what I need." And
You're like, well, you're in luck. I have 7,000.
Oh, well, that's not what he said, but
that's what
You're like,
that's
why
what
so much?
no, dude, no.
that's what Zuniga wish I had said.
Oh, you bombed it. $500.
No, I just did some math in my head, and I just thought I calculated this woman's fixed monthly income, and I thought about the cost to get her out of there, the cost to get a deposit for an apartment, the ongoing, and I thought, if I give you, I said, I went through it in my head in about 30 seconds, and
$7 grand ain't gonna get you that far.
I immediately said, ma'am, there's no planet in which I would let you take $7 grand. How does 30 sound?
That's not a bad idea because now she's married to this deal.
No, she was good either way.
You know what though? But what you did is very wise. You're looking at $500,000 payday over here, and she says $7 grand. Who gives a shit if you pay 7 or 30? You give her 30, it A, looks better. B, she's just going to be more committed, and it's going to be easier for her to get this done for her.
See, I'm not just giving money away.
No, dude. I am a complete believer of that, and we make decisions just like that. Sometimes 100% am on board with that.
I love you for that. I actually, I'm not proud of this, but 2 days ago, I had one of my attorneys tell me, Amit, I've been practicing for 40 years, and you're the softest client I've ever had.
No, dude. You know what? I don't believe that's soft at all. Like, some people think I'm a fucking monster. Absolutely. I've heard that before. But you know what? That's a wise business decision. I wouldn't call it soft at all. I think it's wise. You might have helped, but at the end of the day, dude, y'all are going to make like a huge amount of money on this.
Yeah.
Does it matter if let's say you make 400,000. Does 370,000 or 400,000, does that really matter in your world? No. It's a ton of money. And it's actually 30 grand, 15 for you, 15 for you or whatever.
Yeah. And that's exactly how I view it. And more than that, $30,000 is a lot of money. I'm not discounting that at all.
It is.
Right?
It's a way more money to her than it is to you guys.
Yeah. In fact, in some cases, unfortunately, it's a whole deal. But at the end of the day, you'll go to bed at night and you're not going to remember that $30,000, but it's going to make a world of difference for her. And my way, when I penciled it out, I thought this will give this woman about 14 to 16 months of runway, at least, while her son goes and gets another trucking job and is able to stabilize them as a family so they can move forward. And so we did that, and then since
Did she move out?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very easily.
Easily.
And David was very, very supportive of it at the time, but I have not been invited back to another appointment. Anyway, I'll let you finish it off.
No,
you guys did the right thing, man.
Yeah, we did.
There are times where people tell me, I don't want it, I'll give it away, I could care less. First off, there needs to be consideration. I'm not about to take a deed with no consideration because that doesn't consummate a deal. It's ever challenged in court. You got to have a problem. But sometimes people say, I'll take it for free. And I'm like, no. I'm at least going to give you $1,000.
Yeah.
Or sometimes it ends up being more. But
also, to be
that's
clear,
wise.
I joke, but he was actually very supportive of it. Like,
I like to sleep at night. You know what I mean? It's those deals where sometimes you're like, oh my God, like this is the thing, like, and you say this a lot. The threshold is high for this business. For me, at least, and I'm sure you've seen, there's so many times where you look at the opportunity that you have, and you're like, I could totally screw these people right here, right now.
Oh, dude.
Right here, right now. And
with the ability, with the knowledge, with the upper hand you have, you could do some bad stuff.
You could do some bad stuff, right? And it's like, I do not want that reputation. I do not want that in my head. I want to sleep at night. If somebody ever even thought about doing that to my mom, I would just destroy somebody, right? So it's just having that always in my head. I'm like, no, we got to do what's right. It has to be fair, right? Because yes, sometimes we've offered people $500, $1,000, right?
But that's because it's a train wreck over there.
But it's a train wreck. It's just like in that situation, right? The family for that was in Oklahoma, and this family that was in Sinelli, they had been going at it for years.
Oh, that could have blown. I have deals that sounded just like that on the front end and blew sky high and took 2 years and cost $100,000 illegal and are a train wreck.
Mm-hmm.
So
could have easily gone that way, right?
Right. Very well. And if it doesn't, well, then you're going to make $500,000.
Right.
If it goes the wrong way, well, you're going to make a lot less.
Right. So it's like you have to make sure that you just clear conscious, man. Clear conscious.
And I actually think, everything aside, I think it's good business. So one thing I love about David, because not every partner would see it this way, but early on, actually, we had another deal, not a curative deal, and it drug forever. It just took forever. And of course, we have all the escape clauses in the contract. You can walk away from it, but we'd committed to the people that we were going to close, and if we didn't, they'd be in a really bad place. And by the time it closed, we were well aware we were going to lose money.
That was a sub-2 deal.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, sub 2s are not. It was great for taxes. That's about it. Generally, maybe as a in between, kind of thing, a bridge funding thing. But otherwise, they're not my favorite. But David was. I even asked David. I go, "Hey, David, are you okay with this?" And he looked at me. and goes, "What do you mean?" Like he goes, "We gave our word." And I love that. And so the thing is, did we lose money there? Yes. Are we ever going to do another transaction with those people again? Probably not. Right. But in general, one thing that I've kind of lived on my entire life is I get deals other people don't, and I typically don't pay more. But the one thing that people can always count on is I always close. I always keep my word. I always pay quickly, and that has a value that I think lasts over time. And I think people miss that. There is real value, real monetary value to actually just doing things the right way if you intend to be in business for a long time.
That's right. That reputation is a very long tail, and it follows you no matter what it looks like. It absolutely does. This has been fun. Okay. There are about half of our listeners are new people that haven't done a deal, that are just looking in and are mesmerized by what they see and what they hear. You don't need to tell the experienced operators anything because they know what they're doing. But what do you tell those new folks that are looking at this, that are interested in coming into the fold, that want to do a deal like this? What's your message for them? What do they need to know? You tell yourself back when you were leaving Dallas, Texas, listening to David Goggins, if you were listening to Zuniga at that time, what would you be telling you?
You can't live in fear. You cannot live in fear. Everything's scary. But you'd have to keep your word. It's to yourself and to other people, right? It's this stuff that we're doing is scary. It's a lot of money sometimes. It's a big problem. It's, piles and piles of issues that you have to work through. And if you approach it with a quitter's mentality, or you're scared, or you're not sure, it's not going to happen. You have to see it through. You have to see it through. If you're going to be in real estate, especially in this part of real estate, you have to see it through. These deals can get stuck like this if you're not proactive. So if you get a deal, you're going to jump into this stuff, make sure that you see it through. You might lose money, but you're going to learn a whole bunch, and that will make the next deal a lot easier.
Get the reps.
Get the reps in.
Do it.
Do it.
Sounds like some David Goggins stuff. How about you? What would you tell people?
To add to that, and for those people that are feeling the fear, I think it's completely natural, right? I think that, cheesy thing is that bravery comes in overcoming that fear, and so I think that it does come from just doing it. I don't have an education. I have another business partner named David Bingham, and I collect Davids. And David is he's a real estate demigod. If you think of a class of real estate, he owns it. Office buildings, strip centers, schools. He's the largest assisted living owner in my assisted living owner in my city. He owns everything, right? And he dropped out of high school.
Yeah, wow.
And the thing is that and sometimes we joke, we've got like 5 PhDs and 20 masters. We just pay for them. But the thing is, everyone comes up with excuses. I don't have the education. I don't have the money. I don't have the connections. Would those things help? Certainly. But just go and do it, right? Just go and do something. The people that are successful just put one foot in front of the other. They don't know the answer. They just know that whatever the problem they run into is, they're going to find the solution, and it's going to be okay. And you're going to fail. You're going to fall on your face. And yeah, maybe you'll lose some money along the way, but it's not about how much money you make or lose. It's how much you end up making in the long run. And you're never going to have an opportunity to exit a situation you're not happy in if you don't start down the path to do so.
That's right. I love that. Don't be afraid. Or maybe you'll be afraid, but still go do it.
Was that thing you say?
No one knows what they're doing. Some of us do it anyway.
Exactly, dude.
That's it.
That is it.
Well, guys, this has been fun. Where do people find y'all? If they want to get a hold of you, if they're doing a deal in El Paso, they need some help.
Deedhero.com.
Deedhero.com.
Deedhero.com. We will happy to work with you, partner with you. If you're a service provider, if you are working with someone and you are an estate attorney, if you have any issue, if you're a realtor and you're sick and tired of losing your commissions, deedhero.com, really happy to help.
Come on. Y'all want to go out to West Texas and do some good deals? You got the right people to do it with. I'll underwrite and back that up.
All right, man.
Thanks for sharing your time with me, guys, today. I really appreciate it. I know everybody loves hearing that. So
Appreciate you, man. Thank you for your time.
My commitment to you is to deliver the most interesting, messy, and profitable real estate deals on earth. And in exchange for that, I only ask that you subscribe to this podcast and share it with a friend who can benefit.